I think I got a degree in art with a minor in English and a minor in religious studies. But I did religious studies solely for the purpose of learning about the iconology.
I used to be obsessed with the devil.
Images. What?
The devil, Satan himself. Because it's crazy that they thought of a guy who was going to be the bad guy. That's already crazy. Like, humanity itself is already evil enough. You're going to create a whole figure for this evil force? It's kind of crazy to do that. But you went to school for...
I got a minor in religious iconology because I wanted to learn about the icons, what they all meant, where they all came from, and because like just in Christianity alone, Catholics, Protestants, evangelicals, the Irish, as an example, Irish Catholics with the Celtic cross versus English Catholics versus Roman Catholics.
They're all different?
Greek Catholic. Yeah. They're all different. So they all are Catholic, right? So they're all part of the Catholic Church. But at the same time, the cultures from each area greatly affected the iconology, the images, right? And so what most of us know about is Italian painters who painted for the Vatican.
Yeah, like, it's true, because if you think about, like, how Mexicans all glorify, like, just like Jesus, like they all have the same image of the Virgin Mary.
Almost all, that's right. But Italian painters did most of the iconology that we see in history, throughout history. However, there were German painters who painted the same scenes differently. There were Irish artisans. Their cross is a network of Celtic knots, right? Now we all know, those of us that have studied art, that the Celts were pagans. We flat out fucking know they're pagans, man. And so were all the Norse. They were pagan. Now,
Because they used to also, like, rape people and stuff to North.
Well, all of them did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The Spanish were the greatest offenders of the Caribbean and Mexico, right? The English pretty much were the ones that dominated most of the Native Americans in the upper quadrant. The French raped and pillaged everything that they could, all along the bottom of the United States, some of the islands, and into Mexico. And they all did it the same way. They took it. None of them used the ideals of God and religion and Christianity to guide them. They all went devil deep on that shit.
Here's something to think about. You know how the cross is the symbol for the Christianity?
Yeah, right.
That is how they punished Jesus for saying that he's the Son of God. So imagine if he had...
He didn't say he was Son of God.
Well, he claimed that he was like the one that
He never did.
He never did?
No, he never did.
So why did they put him on the cross?
Because he was a passive. So the Romans and the Greeks and the Turks and the Egyptians, they were all very aggressive cultures. And they believed in, you do it my way or we're going to punish you, whether it be kill you, whether it be rape and kill your family, whether it be take all of your land, murder all your sheep, whatever it was. They were always very vicious. And Jesus was like, why do we have to be like that? It makes more sense to be like this. And so his teachings were very passive. Love thy neighbor. Treat them as though you want to be treated. Treat others as though you want to be treated. It takes a village to take care of them, right? So he had all these great ideas and ideals of how things would be better, and it worked. Every group of people that he invested time in and listened to him, he was very charismatic, right? So was Hitler, so was Trump, right? So charismatic just means that you catch attention from people, right? Charisma. He was very charismatic, but he was a good kind of charismatic, and people really wanted to listen to him because every time he spoke, it made sense, unlike Trump, who makes no fucking sense, or unlike, like Hitler made a lot of sense to the German people. It didn't make any sense to the Polish, the Jews, the the Ukraines. It only made sense to Germany, and that's because Hitler's propaganda and his speeches were about making Germans the center of the world. Christians want to be the center of the world. How do I know this? How do we all know
you know,
this?
it's a
'Cause they're
sin to not
constantly-
like convert somebody else. Like that for me was what made me want to like really research if I want to be involved at 14.
Right.
But what I was
You're
saying
right.
was like, you know how like Jesus' thing was like the cross?
Yeah.
If he had come in more modern times and they had given him the electric chair or like the shot,
Right.
like or they would have shot
We'd
him,
all be
we
hanging.
would have been wearing a chair on our chest.
Electric chairs around
Yeah,
his
electric
chest.
chair. Like, oh yeah,
Flaming
pray,
heads.
pray to the chair.
Smoke coming off his hair.
Yeah. Because I thought about that when I was like 12 years old in the church, and they had the statue of Jesus like that, all crucified with his abs,
Blood
and, like,
and-
bleeding all over himself. I was like, damn, this is kind of gruesome for a Sunday morning.
That's horrific.
I just had breakfast.
And there are different ways that different churches enforce or reinforce their ideals. And you're right. So some churches use a very peaceful cross, just a cross. The cross itself symbolizes
The Four Seasons.
well, no. I mean, it just symbolizes Christianity.
You know how about the cross symbolizes the zodiac, right?
Sure, yeah, and that's the thing. There were so many similarities. So why did the Germans take the swastika when the swastika for the Buddhists rather
It means peace.
it means peace?
Yeah.
But the Germans, but it also means it doesn't just mean peace. It actually means peace, power, and longevity. And it's not power as in power. It's power as in the more you know, the more powerful your mind is, the more powerful your body is. So one thing our society definitely cannot do, and it's because we're moving at such a rapid pace, but this is exactly the opposite of understanding one's body and being able to
I like how you
control
use
it.
yourself as an example.
Yeah, absolutely. I have very little control when it comes to food vices. When it comes to food vices, I know what I'm supposed to do. We know that carbs are bad. We don't have to be told it by a book or by some guy who's skinny that carbs are bad. If you just know, if you paid attention in biology, you know that carbs are the problem with our society because as hunter-gatherers, but here's the key. The key of this is if you don't embrace the idea that we evolved, whether we evolved from something that God made out of clay and whatever, or we actually evolved from early humanoids, hominids, you'll embrace the core concept that some sort of evolution occurred. Whether it started with we were already built and we just got better, or it started with we evolved like everything, from sludge all the way up through all the animals, wiping out periodically with asteroids, boom, 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 here we are.
Yeah.
One way or the other, you have to understand and agree with the concept of some sort of either physical or at least sociological evolution, where our society evolved. Subsequently, we evolved, meaning there was a time where there was no processed cake, processed bread, refined sugar, MSG. None of that shit happened 1,000 years ago when Jesus was alive, 2,224 years ago. There was no processed bullshit food, which is why they were dead. They had to go find food, man. They had to raise food. Then they had to figure out how to kill that food humanely or not. Then they had to figure out how to cook that food. They had to figure out how to grow this shit. They had to figure out how to harvest that shit, how to store that shit so they could still eat in the wintertime. All of that took work. All of that work made them look like the